that your programs need to be user-friendly and they have to be programmer-friendly. One thing that you need to realize is that in this environment is not like the real world. In the real world, there'd be several people working on your program. Very seldom in these days does one person work by themselves in the programming field. Yeah, there's people out there that, you know, their job might be to alter a certain part of a program, and that might be a single job to do that. But we're talking about writing whole programs. It's not usually a single person anymore sitting down in their basement. I mean, there can be up to 100 people writing a program. So, okay. So now that most everybody's here, I guess. Still missing 3 though, or 2. So this is Computer Science 115, and I forget what the number is, 26 something or another. It's a 12-week versus a 16-week programming class. So it will be a little more accelerated than if you were taking the 16-week one, because we have to knock out 16 weeks worth of work in a 12-week period, okay? So like I said, today we're going to do like housekeeping, make sure everybody understands what the class is, what it covers, how to get a hold of me, where to put your programs once you write them. You should have already gotten an email from me and access to Blackboard, okay? So I'm going to switch over to Blackboard. I'm going to share my screen with you. And you tell me if you, in fact, can now see my screen. You guys see that?
Yeah.
Thanks. One person's alive out there. All right. So this is the welcome. When you go to Blackboard and then click on our site for our class, will be over on the right-hand side. And this is where you should end up. And this is just your welcome. If you came here the first time, you should have read over this, okay? It is, like I said, a 12-week course. That means that you meet with me just under 4 hours a week. And so if you subtract that from the amount of hours the federal government states that you're supposed to spend on this class, so it's 4 hours a week is what you're supposed to spend for 3 hours, because it's a 2 lecture, 2 lab, and the lab are worth a half a credit or half of an hour themselves to give you the 3 credit hours. And then outside of class, you're supposed to double that outside of class, okay? But in our case, since it's a 12-week, it's actually more than 4 hours a week that you're supposed to spend in this class. So I'm just guessing at 12 to 15 hours a week. That means about 2 hours a day, maybe a little less. And again, it depends on your typing speed, things like that. Okay. Madison, I think you got your mic open.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. Not a big deal. I don't really care. I just, sometimes it can be a little embarrassing though. So that's announcements. You'll hardly ever, unless there's some special reason I need to get a hold of you usually. This is how to get a hold of me in my office hours and for class. This doesn't change. Okay, unless Zoom kicks me out for some reason. That'll be the same throughout the whole semester. All right. Okay. If you have any need for, if you have some type of disability or that, you can get a hold of Terry Ingalls, and she's the head of Access Services, and we can make accommodations. I will tell you this, that I am not a big test person, okay? Some of you are cheering, I hope. Uh, there will be no midterm. There'll be no final. All I care about is if you can program. So as your final will be a program that you'll write, okay, at home over the course of a week or two. Um, so the stress level should not be that high. But if you need somebody to take notes, or, and again, I'll be sending this to YouTube. So if you turn on the closed captioning in YouTube, you should also be able to get a closed caption of my class. Let's see what else. So that's about it on this one. Okay. Student COVID. This class is totally online. Okay. So that being said, this really doesn't pertain to us unless you need to go to ICC. If you need to go to ICC, you have to follow these guidelines. Okay. In other words, you have to tell them or whatever it is, you got to do this health check 360, which I have no idea how it works, except that I know you're supposed to take your temperature or something before you go to ICC. But you should check that out if you have a class, a hybrid at ICC, or you need to go there for some reason. Okay. Here's my info for you. Email is the best way to get a hold of me. Both I hold 6 office hours a week. Okay, one of them will be directly after this class ends. I think it's actually at 11 to 12, so 15 minutes after this class ends. But if you need something at the end of class, I'll stick around. Okay, I answer emails every day of the week. Uh, Usually during the week, you'll get an answer a lot faster. And we're going to talk more about that later. Here's my office hours. Okay. So you can see here Tuesdays 11 to noon and Thursdays 11 to noon. I'm available. Again, if you have questions, make sure you speak up, because I'm sure if I miss something or you have some, there's other people that have that same question. Okay. And you can just butt right in when you want to do so. All right. Here's some videos I made a couple of, probably more than a year ago now. But if you have problems, I would say take a look at them if they pertain to you. Just remember that to assimilate the information, because some of it might have changed over time. But it's still pretty much the same how to do this stuff. But I'm assuming this one you won't need because you're already in Blackboard. So if you're sitting here, that one's probably useless. How to put your NetBeans stuff in, that we'll talk more about that too. The big thing here, this is the federal definition of an office or a credit hour. And the important thing here is this right here. It's the amount of work represented in intended learning outcomes and verified by evidence of student achievement. In other words, let's say that for some reason you have to withdraw from this class in the future. You know, maybe your job changes or you move, or I mean, that shouldn't matter because it's online, but just say you don't have the time, whatever, or you're just not interested anymore. So you're going to withdraw from this class, and ICC is going to come to me and say, when was the last time, let's say you're getting financial aid, when was the last time the student attended? Well, I'm going to go into your portfolio and see what was the last lesson assignment that you turned in that you passed. Because to me, that's work represented and verified by evidence. Okay. So it doesn't matter if you sit in the class or whatever, the proof is in what you did as far as programming goes. All right. This is the official syllabus. You can read over it. This is what you're supposed to learn in the class. Okay. We'll actually go a little past the single level arrays and probably do multi-dimensional arrays. And I'll introduce you to classes, which will be where you'll start out if you take Java 2. Okay. Because again, Java is an object-oriented programming language. And so I will introduce that at the end of the semester for you. Okay, text and software. Okay, the required text for this class is the Ling book, okay, 12th edition, available almost anywhere online, our bookstore, used. I don't care where you get it, okay? NetBeans and Java. Okay, the deal is you install the Java first, okay? So you go to the page with Java on it and find the one. Most of you will be doing this one here. Always, you want to pick the EXE. Let's see, 14.0, 14.1. I don't really care. Any of these will work. I would use the 14, probably. It's the most tested. You download this first and install Java first. You have to do it in this order. Then you come here to Apache and install NetBeans 12. And the reason you have to do that is NetBeans will not install right if it can't find Java. Okay. If you just take the defaults when you install Java, NetBeans will find it. If you're using a Mac, then you follow the rules for the Mac. On the Java side, you saw it probably as we scrolled over it. But the NetBeans, I believe, will be the same on the Mac as it is for a PC. But you have to use NetBeans, okay? We're not using Eclipse or anything like that. You have to use NetBeans in this class. Any questions on that?
No.
Right. And it's pretty smooth. Again, if you do it right, it's pretty smooth. I very seldom get people that says they can't do it. If for some reason it doesn't work, try it again. I've had that problem before myself, where I tried to install it one time and then for some reason it doesn't work right and I have to install it again. Okay, general course information. Basically, this just says I own this stuff. When you email me, I have 3 Java classes. They're all in different places. One of them meets once a week. One of them meets twice a week. And now I got a 12-week that meets twice a week. So and none of them are in the same place as far as lessons go. So you have to tell me, I can't remember, I have 100 students. I can't, or just under 100. I can't remember everybody's name, especially since I'm not seeing you. So you need to put in the subject line of your email on what you want, what class you're in. Okay. I need to know what class you're in, or I can't answer your question logically. Okay. Office hours, I showed you them before. Here's another place that describes them and a link to them. Due dates, you guys are a Tuesday to Tuesday. Okay. So you get 8 days for each of the assignments I give you. Okay. So you have Tuesday to Tuesday. The lessons appear before our class on Tuesday night or Monday evening, probably, or earlier even. And they're due the following Tuesday at 11:59 in the evening. So like if you had an assignment last week, it'd be due at midnight tonight. unless I tell you otherwise. If you turn it in after that, normally I'll talk about grading here in a minute. Okay, well, right here. Normally your stuff will be graded probably on, I'm guessing by Thursday. Okay, probably by Thursday. But I don't grade anybody's in the class until, like, again, if you had an assignment that started last week, I don't, it's not like, oh, if I get in real fast, I'll get my grade back faster. No, that doesn't. I wait until everybody's done theirs for the week, and then I grade it. Okay. So just so you understand. This one here is a link to getting help. If you need help, the most I can do for you is this. I hold 6 office hours a week. I'm available by email. You Google and YouTube especially are great. I use them all the time. Okay. You have to assimilate the information, though, that you get from them so that it meets our rules, our programming rules. If you don't know, I drink a lot of coffee, so every once in a while you'll hear me drinking coffee. You can ask your peers. We're going to do this week, you're required to turn in a biography of yourself. Okay. And it'll be posted in the discussion board. And you're required to answer 2 other people's, respond to them, reply to them. I will tell you that I've been doing this for 30 years. And people that know other people in the class have a higher instance of success. That being said, you have to be careful on what you ask them. Okay. If you ask them a simple question like, I really didn't understand how that if statement works. Could you explain that to me? That's fine. If you ask them, hey, I was drunk last night and I didn't get my homework done, can you give me a copy of it? That's not good. Okay. And believe me, I've seen it all. I can pretty much, once I start grading your stuff, I'll kind of know who you are. It's like if I was reading a book by Stephen King, okay, and then all of a sudden you turn into Shakespeare, I'm going to think something's wrong. Okay. The ones I really like over the years that I get, sometimes people will turn them in and not even bother to change the name of the author at the top of the program. That's pretty easy ones for me to determine that you yourself did it right. And come on, we're adults here. Hopefully you're here to learn something, not just get a grade. Because in this field, if you don't know what you're talking about, you're going to stick out like a sore thumb.
Um, some are do what just do a require, right? I think I heard of this. Some people take this class, they just want to get the requirements out of the way.
Well, I understand that you need to get the requirement, but what are you taking that isn't gonna? If they have you taking computer science for some reason, there's a reason that you're going to use that possibly later in your career. And if you get there and you don't know your rear end from a hole in the ground, it's probably not going to be really great for your career. So I'm just saying. And I'll also tell you this, once you learn one programming language, it's much easier because they all work off the same logic. The syntax is different, but the logic on how to do it is pretty much the same. I learned how to program, 30 years ago, and I wrote basic A back then. And now I can write, I don't know, 5 languages, something like that. And I'm confident I could write any language in reality because the logic behind them is the same no matter what language it is. You just have to find the new syntax. Okay. But anyway, I'll also say this in programming, when we look at the next, so as far as the Google and the YouTube go, it's programming. Uh, Somebody probably has solved the problem that you're going to be assigned in this class at some time in some other class or in the real world. Um, so programmers are notorious from copying other people. Okay. But again, if you don't understand it, that's the problem. You're going to copy in this class. I write a program almost every class with you. And basically, it's going to be a typing class for you because you're just going to follow what I do. The big thing is do you understand why I'm doing what I'm doing? And that's what you need to study once class is over. Okay. But we do have academic support. You can contact them. There's some availability of tutors. I think you get, I don't know, maybe 3 hours a semester of a hired tutor or something like that. Hang on, let's see if this thing will come up. I don't know why it isn't. There it is. And you can just contact these people. Okay. They have online tutoring, and you can make appointments, and they have all kinds of resources. If you don't know which one to do, there's email addresses of this from the student support. You can email them, and there's also a chat. Are you seeing that up in my corner? During certain hours, you can click it and talk to a tutor. Okay. So there's that you can do. There are 2 open labs. In other words, let's say your computer takes a dump and you need to get homework done. You can go over to ICC North, or what do we call it now? ICC Peoria, which is up on University. That H stands for, what tree is it? I forget. It's not hollow. Anyway, I'll think of it. But they're named by trees. It's the one that starts with an H. Hickory. That's it. It's Hickory 127. So when you get over there, if you've never been over there, it's real nice over there, actually. And then we also have ours in East Peoria campus. Okay. And once again, here's my office hours. Contact expectations. Usually when you email me, I will get back to you shortly, within, I don't know, 6 hours during the week, except if you do it at night. I don't sit here all night and wait for you to email me if you submit an email at 9 o'clock at night. My best guess would be is if you did it after 5 in the afternoon, you're probably not going to get an answer till the next morning. But believe me, I am interested in you, and I will get back to you. One other thing that I will tell you is what happens sometimes is students will email me and say, Doug, I don't know, I can't get this. And then I'll see an hour later, they email me again. Oh, Doug, I solved that. Never mind. We tend to, especially when we're face to face, we tend to, as teachers, jump in and help you maybe too quickly. I mean, I could tell you the old horror stories of, yeah, I looked for a problem for 12 hours straight, and it was, this is a true, here's my true horror story. I worked on a program when we were writing in COBOL, and I spent a whole afternoon looking for a period. And the scenario is, though, believe me, after that, I never made that same mistake. So I learned something, okay? Whereas if somebody would have jumped in and said, oh, you're missing a period right there, might not be as much of a learning experience. Some of you have probably programmed before. Well, guess what? You can't use it. The only thing you can use in your programs to solve your programs is things that have been covered in the course to that point. So, like, let's say that I told you you have to print your name 5 times. Some of us, or some of you, probably know how to write a loop that would print your name 5 times, okay? You can't use it until we cover loops. You'd have to literally print them out 5 times. And I know that some of the programs we're going to write will not be as short as they could be without knowing a lot of things. But my point is that we're going to go through each part of programming and cover that one at a time. So, and there's a purpose behind my madness. Again, as I said before, I know a lot of programmers that are self-taught, and some of them are really good, and some of them are really bad. They don't follow the rules. Their programs are not user-friendly. They're not programmer-friendly, okay? But they think they know how to program, okay? So that's the scenario. You have to use what we have covered. Class participation, there is a class participation grade, and it's very subjective. In other words, if you don't show up for class and I notice it, you might lose some points for that. If I catch you cheating, you could lose points for that or be kicked out of the class, period. Or, according to ICC, even the school, depending on the level of cheating. But on the other hand, you can also gain points. Let's say that I have a student that contacts me and say, Doug, I was really mixed up on how to do selection and decisions, and so helped me the other night. Well, that person will get extra points towards their participation. Attendance and late work. You know, in the real world, I always explained to you about the submission date of passing assignments. Okay, so if you do get out of the class and they come to me and ask me, you know, that's it. I give them the date. Administrative removal is if you just don't show up or you don't turn in assignments. If I notice we're in week 3 and you haven't turned in any assignments, guess what? They're going to administratively remove you from the class because I have to report you as a never attender or non-intender. Never intenders are those that never turn in anything. A non-attender is at midterm. If you're missing so many days, that makes you a non-attender, and they will administratively remove you at that time. And depending on how many classes you're taking, that could affect your financial aid, of course. Late work penalties, I'll be honest with you, I have this for just for my discretion. Most of the time, I'm just worried that you're turning stuff in, okay? I want you to succeed. I'm not here to make your life miserable. I'll tell you, the guys, I've owned computer companies before even. And the people that worked for me, several of them were students of mine prior to that. And those guys, the people that worked for us that I know and other people in the industry love this stuff. And when I say that, I'm not kidding. I would go home myself at, let's say, 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'd come back the next morning and they'd still be working on a problem to the point where I literally had to tell them to go home because they stink. Okay. And they knew I wasn't going to pay them for spending the night or whatever. They just wanted to solve the problem. I would compare it to some of you probably play some type of game. And I've had lots of students that said, oh, what's it, da-da-da, came out last night, and I solved it in one night, okay? I think the guys or girls, ladies that worked for me, that's how they treated this. They would think of it as a game, and were they able to solve the problem, or how could they solve the problem? Things like that. If you're turning stuff in late that's already been graded, you need to email me and tell me, hey, Doug, I turned this in late. Could you grade it for me? Oh, and on this up here, again, if it's, if you're a day late or something like that, I'm not going to ding you for that. It's the people that are, um, I've had students literally in the last week of class want to turn in 15 weeks worth of programs. Yeah, you're going to lose points for that because it makes my life miserable. Lack of attendance, again, major examinations. I don't expect that there's going to be any. Okay. But if I was, you got to take it on the day I say. Blackboard has a grade section, and all you're going to care about in your grader, in your Blackboard grader, is two things. Most of your assignments are going to be worth 10 points. Okay. It's a point game. This class is a point game. The more points you have, the better your grade's going to be. Okay. So that's all it is. Okay. The scenario is that you look at your grade. Okay. First of all, did you get a grade? If you didn't get a grade for some reason, either I missed what you named it in your portfolio, if you turned it in, or you didn't turn it in. One of the two, that's all it is. Okay. If you can see it in your portfolio, so can I. Believe me, I have a lot higher rights to the program than you do. So if you can see it in there, I can see it in there. As far as final grades go at the end, I don't give incompletes. Okay. So whatever amount of points you have in May, I think it's May 17th, that's what your grade's going to be. Okay. I don't buy my dog ate it, my computer crashed, it disappeared, I had to go to a funeral, I had to leave the state. You know what? It's online. I don't care. You have a commitment for the class. If you cannot make that a commitment, maybe it's not the perfect time for you to be taking a class. And I, as sympathetic as I am, I can't help that. Okay. But all the, as far as the computer crash, you should have multiple backups somewhere. Put it up on the cloud. That's where you should be putting stuff anyway. You get, if you go to your ICC email, over in the corner, there'll be a waffle, kind of like this thing here. You click on it and you'll see your iDrive. It comes with, it's free. And you can store as much stuff as you want there. And guess what? The benefit is that you can go anywhere in the world and access that. Okay? The dog ate it. That's more likely at my house. My dogs eat everything. It disappeared. I can't help you with that one. Your car was stolen. Okay, I'll give you an extra week to get that turned in. So again, the whole scenario is most of this class, in fact, this whole class is over the internet. So if you have a poor internet connection, again, I can't help you there. If you live out in the boons and you're getting your Wi-Fi or your internet over a satellite or the neighbor's barn transponder or whatever the heck it is, having a live Zoom class is going to be a problem for you. And I hope that doesn't happen, but we have teachers that have that. I have one teacher that works with me, and her house is way out in the middle of nowhere, and her neighbor had to put in a tower at his place, And luckily he was in the process of doing that. So she could get enough bandwidth to run her class from home, or she would have had to go to ICC every day, which they are trying not to have us do at this time anyway. Any questions so far on this stuff? We all on the same page?
I have one question.
Go ahead.
So I know you talked about there being like the iDrive, but does the what's the software NetBeans, does it save over like is it local, or can you access it from different computers? So I have like a desktop and a laptop, and I'd really like to like utilize
you'd have
both
to
of them.
install it on both.
All right.
Unless you have a network. If you install NetBeans on a network that you could access, then yes, you could do that. But if it's just a local installation, it's only going to be there.
All right. So like say I install it on both of my PCs,
Yep.
would I be able to access like a homework that I've been working on, or like would I have to upload it to a cloud?
You'd upload it to the cloud.
All right, cool.
Unless again, if you have a network set up in your house where your one computer can see your other computer, then you'd be able to do that. Okay, like at my house, I can.
Yeah. All right.
I can like I have a wife, a printer in the other room, and any of the computers in my house can print off that computer because I have a home network. Okay. Now I don't have it set up that I can access the files on my wife's computer or that, but I can hit certain things. Your best bet, probably do it on one computer, save it to the iDrive, and then open it with your other computer if you want to work with the other computer. As I'm talking, I just got a flash. My internet is unstable. Can you guys still hear me? I'm hoping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So we talked about this. Course grade level or scale. Again, almost everything you're going to do for me except the biography and that is going to be a submission to your ePortfolio, and we'll take a look at that. My grade scale is a little bit higher than maybe what you're used to. People ask me why, because you're my students. Okay. No incompletes, I talked about that. Unless you die or are in a nuclear explosion within 10 miles of ground zero. Again, why are they that high? It's subjective. I could lower them and then just grade higher or grade more. Okay, doesn't really matter. Percent shown in the grader? No, you're only going to do two things in the grader. Did I get a grade, and is my grade what I think it should be? Now, again, if you're getting, let's say, 8.5 through 10s, you're probably doing all right, okay? If you're getting less than 8.5 on your programs, you probably need to talk to me. If you're getting zeros, that's not a problem. That means you didn't turn it in. If you get a 1 from me, okay, that's my cue to you that either you did the wrong problem or I don't think you did it right or whatever, and it's a redo, okay? In other words, I want you to redo it and resubmit it. And when you resubmit it, you email me, et cetera, okay? So if you ever see a 1, it's not necessarily going to be your grade. I mean, it could be if it's that bad, but it's just, I'm going to give you a second chance to do it, okay? So, and again, I don't give you grades, you earn your grades, so do your work. This is how you submit something, okay? There's a little PowerPoint here that you can watch. Data storage, I talk about here. This should not say Google Drive, it should say iDrive. I think that's a better solution for you guys since ICC provides that for you. You can, of course, use removable storage devices, whatever. The problem with them is what? You'll lose them. When I had, before the pandemic, of course, probably in some semesters, we'd end up with, I don't know, maybe 50 of these that nobody would ever pick up. I just never understood it. Okay. Of course, there is an H drive at ICC. The problem with it is you can't reach it from your house. Okay. What should you know? Everything. Anything that we talk about at any class, anything you're supposed to read or watch is fair game as far as your grade goes. Okay. It's not like learning geography. Let's say I'm in a geography class. We're studying Spain this week. We take the class on Spain on Friday, and we move on to England next week or France. And a week later, we take the test on that. No, it doesn't work that way. What we're going to learn this week builds for the whole class and into your future. This is an online schedule. This is the definition from ICC of what this class is. Okay. Blackboard Gradebook, we talked about that already. And this one down here is, what are we? Okay. By that, I mean, these are the expectations from ICC, that you and I, we have a certain amount of integrity, that we are responsible for our learning, that we're going to contribute to our student community. We're lifelong learners and we strive for excellence. Okay. And that comes right out of the student handbook. The other thing in the handbook is if, in fact, your academic integrity is questionable. Okay. It covers what they can do as far as even removing you from the college. Oh, believe me, we've had students steal the teacher's keys, get in the office and steal the test, and then was distributing tests before. Where to the point where ICC had to spend thousands of dollars doing locks on the doors in certain parts of the college. All right, so that's that. Programming conventions. Okay, so NetBeans, you have to use it. Okay, I'm going to show you how either today or on Thursday. All your programs must have this at the top of them. And later on, you have to divide your programs by procedures. We'll learn about primitive data types, but for right now, I'm going to let you get away with just using strings, integers, and doubles. Okay. Should know what a variable is. It's a name, place, and memory that can change. And a constant is a name, place, and memory that cannot change. Simple as that. Naming conventions, you should read over this. Basically, I do not allow single letter, and your book is going to allow this, single letter variable names. In other words, you can't use X, Y, I, A, B, C by themselves. They have to be meaningful. They need to be readable. They need to mean something. A rule for that is if you name something and you came to some stranger walking down the street and he has no idea what that is, then sorry, it's not a good one. Okay? Verbs, method names, we'll cover that later. Variables are descriptive, like total cost, first name, room area. You can't use X and Y and stuff like that. Class names. Your program names should be book title capitalization. Okay. By that, I mean each word is capitalized, no spaces. If you believe you need spaces, put in underscores. Okay. Constants are constants by for programmer friendliness are all in uppercase when we declare them. Names are case sensitive, so like first name like that is not the same as first name like that. Your names can't start with a letter. Okay. I mean a number, sorry. They can't contain spaces, and they can't be a reserved word. Okay. By reserved word, I mean one that means something special in the language. Don't use special characters except the underscore. Acronyms, things like if I was to ask you what SSN means. Anybody?
Social security number.
Yeah. How about DOB?
Date of birth.
There you go. MPH. MPH, nobody?
Miles per hour.
Yeah. So those are acceptable because they're abbreviations or acronyms or whatever of things that the normal person would know. Don't make up your own. If you're making up your own, not a good idea. Okay. What else? Avoid names of similar. In other words, don't make one variable named numbers and another variable named number. Okay. I do sometimes use Hungarian notation, but it's no longer recommended, so you don't have to do that. This talks a little bit more about variables and constants. You can take a look at that. Down here is the first math thing you got to realize. A single equal sign does not mean equal to. It means take this number. Normally we read equations in programming in all languages from right to left. So this means take 0.085 and assign it to the variable tax rate, which is a double, which again is not a selection or decision. The one below it means equal to. So equal to in Java is two equal signs. So this one says if 21 is equal to the person's age. Okay. If it had one equal sign, that would be an error. And this just takes you back to what we already looked at in NetBeans and Java. So those are some of the rules that we'll be using. The next thing is your portfolio, email, that kind of thing. This is your portfolio, okay? You should have one. Go in. Oops, I haven't set them up yet. Okay, so I will set them up first thing this morning. Your name will show up here. Okay, I'll show you in a different, let me see what I can do here. So when you come here, your name, you'll only probably see your own name, okay? So then when you get here, you click on it. You go to File Exchange, okay? And then let's say that you want to put something in here. You click on Add File, and then you might put in, this is my rectangle program or something. You don't need to put your name in there because I know this is you because you're the only one that has access to your portfolio. Also, you don't put in chapter 1, exercise 5. You put in what does the program do, okay? Then you browse your computer, and somewhere in there, you should have a zipped folder. Okay, it has to be a zipped folder. I don't have anything zipped here. And again, they're the ones, you know, that have the, oh, here, I can zip. Hang on. So somewhere out here, I have a rectangle or something.
So would we need a program like 7-Zip or like WinRAR?
You can use either one of those. I use 7-Zip, but you can also, when you right click on this in Windows and go to send to, you should have a compressed folder. So watch, that's what I do. So there it's zipped. Notice I didn't even open it up. Okay. NetBeans
That's cool. I didn't know that.
automatically, NetBeans automatically creates the folder for you. If you go inside of there, then let me see if this is one that'll open up here. Yeah, this is what it looks like inside. So you don't want to come in here because in Java, your actual program is just a text file. In other words, you could write your program in a text file and it would run. Okay. But this guy even misspelled temperature. That's lovely. But it makes it harder for me to grade because then I have to set up a whole program and bring your program into it and that to be able to run it. Also, when we get further into class, we're going to have multiple program or multiple classes. In other words, multiple parts of your program that'll be stored in different files. And so I don't want you to have to be hunting for, and I don't want to have to assemble a bunch of different files. If they're all in the same folder, then I don't have to hunt for them and you don't get a lower grade. So all you do, again, you come there, you zip it. Your NetBeans is going to ask you, where do you want to save this to? Okay. And you specify, like I have mine set up, it saves my programs to here, and then I just move them someplace when I want to get rid of them. Okay. So you save them someplace where you know you can get to them. You zip it again by just clicking on it. And this one isn't going to work. Let's see. Why is that? Oh, send to compressed folder. If you don't have that on your computer, you can install 7-Zip. Okay. What I would say to you is if you're a Apple user, I don't know how. I would think it's really easy, but I don't know how you do it. Okay. Never yet. I don't own an Apple, so I don't know how. But if you just look up zip on YouTube, I'm sure it gives you that information. All right. So that's how you will add it. Did I leave it out here? Come on, desktop. Dude. I thought I zipped something. Jeez, Doug. Number breakdown. There's the one that isn't zipped. Oh, there it is. So then you just click on it. Shows there, and then you say you want to submit that. Or hit open. It shows up here as a zip, and you hit submit. And you can see it puts it in here. And your name will be here and the date and time that you submitted it. Okay? That's all you do. Now, if you want to get to that again, you have to right click it, save the link somewhere like to your desktop, and then unzip it to work on it. Or let's say I put it in here and I decide, you know, I really don't like that. I want to get rid of this one and put a different one in there. All you need to do is right click that, hit delete, and okay. And now it's out of my portfolio. Okay. So that's how you put it in a portfolio. Email, again, the more people you know in the class, the better off you are. If you go to email, everybody in the class can email. Let's say I want to have a party and I'm going to invite everybody, including Doug. You click on all users. If you want to have a party and all you're going to invite is the students, let's not tell Doug, you would click this one. Hey, let's have a fake party, invite Doug and nobody else go, you'd click this one. Or if you want to get a hold of me. And this one down here, hey, let's have a party, but we're only going to invite the people whose last name starts with a T. So you'd be able to pick out who out of the class you want to invite to the party. So you have total access to that. Grades, I want to check my grades. I just click here. And you can see here that, again, most stuff I told you is worth 10. Here's one worth 5 that I'll get rid of. But for the most part, they're all worth 10. Later on, there's a couple 20s that are a little harder programs. And I think the final's worth like 35 or something, 40, 50. So here's where your grade will show up. If there's something wrong, usually there's a note here that tells you why you lost points. Okay. So that's pretty easy. And then the last one here, discussion board. You can see biography here. Holy cow. There's 61 biography, well, not 61 total, but people have already been posting biographies. If you haven't, you go in here, you find one, you read it, okay? Oh, this isn't you guys. Hey, that's pretty funny, Doug. No wonder there were so many. Let's see, here's you guys. Okay, so sorry about that. You go over here to the discussion board, and that's better. There's nobody is posted yet. Okay. But you just click in here, say, I want to create a thread, and then you just type in. Again, if you have a spelling problem, you should type it in Word or something, spell check it, and then cut and paste it in here. Hi. I, blah, 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 whatever. Okay. And so you put your bio, you know, does it have to be true? Well, again, do you want to meet people or not? That kind of thing. I don't really care. But the more people you can meet, the better off you are. So you type about a paragraph about yourself. You know, I got kids. I don't have kids. I have a dog. That kind of thing. A lot of times it's more what your objective is, what you're going to do. So then once you do yours, let's just pretend that I'm somebody that I'm not Doug. I would come here, read Doug's, and then I need to reply to 2 people. Okay. Okay, so you post that. So this one's worth 6 points, and each of your 2 replies is worth 2 points apiece, for a total of 10 points on that. Okay. What else on that one? Discussion board. This up here hardly ever gets used, but it is a way to earn extra points. If if you're having a problem or you solved a problem and you want to put it in there, I do look at it. I don't normally write in it, okay, because it's between you guys. So what you post is what you post. Um, but if I see that you're helping people here and people are acknowledging it, you'll get some extra participation stuff. Okay. All right. So that leaves us with lessons. This one here I had posted prior to class, and it talks about your iDrive here, that kind of thing. Okay. You're supposed to read over the stuff. Lesson 1 is where we're at. These are videos, again, on how to do certain stuff. This one down here is a test over the Blackboard material that we just went over. You have to get 11 out of 11 on it, okay? Or I'll just drive you nuts until you do. So you click on it, comes up, you hit begin, it says, what is the usual best way to get in touch with your instructor? Well, let's see, I could hunt him down. I got a personal phone, no. Office phone, nope. It's probably going to be email. What required program is used in this? Well, probably that one called NetBeans. The due date for most assignments in this one is on the same day of the week at 11:50 after assign. If classes meet on Monday, no. If classes meet on Tuesday, they're due the following Tuesday. Yeah, probably that one. To receive a reply on an email, you must put your real name, send an email through ICC email. Write the textbook name and page number, no. All of these then, no. Send the email through ICC email, no. Oh, I guess it would be. Ooh, that's a bad question, isn't it? Wonder what I got for an answer on that one. Oh, let's put my real name in it. Federal guidelines, I'll fix that. Or just remember on that one to choose, put your real name, and we'll see if it's right. Federal guidelines state this one is all the above. Get an A in this class, you need a 93. When I'm talking about that, if you get a 92.5, what grade are you going to get?
Today.
Yep. How about a 92.4?
That'd be.
Yep. So you're going to put your programs in your e-portfolio. Grade percent for class participation is 10. Hopefully I changed that from before. Knowledge leveling means a student may only use skills and knowledge that have been covered in the class. I'd click that one. Programming help is available through my professor, my classmates, and the learning lab. That's probably all the above. And this last one down here just says that you did certain things. And so you say, yeah, I will go by those rules. And you save and submit it. And you get a grade back. Does it say what to review? Click OK. Okay. So what did I screw up, if anything? Oh, I got 11 out of 11. And you can take this as many times as you want, okay? Take it as many times as you want till you get 11 out of 11. So you do that, and then you come in here. And this is read chapter 1. You create a project. Make sure you use ANT. I'll show you how to do that real quick. And again, when you come back Thursday, we'll do more of this. These are the 3 programs you're going to write. I will probably help you write here. Let's see, I'll do this. Oh, come on. tabs on. So this is what I'll do in class with you. You can, these aren't that long anyway. They're not hard. If you read the book, you'll do fine on that. But I will do one with you on Thursday. You need to do your bio. This talks about the size and ranges of, if you go down here to this document, it downloads it supposedly. It has, this is an example of when we save stuff, we have to have some place to save it. And the amount of storage needed to save something is dictated by what type it is. From way down at Boolean, which is only 1 bit, all the way up to string, which is 1 bit for every, or 1 byte actually, for each letter, or a double, which is 64 bits. I don't expect you to memorize these in total. I do expect you to know the stuff as it is down here. Okay. Like Boolean, you know, what can it hold? Well, it can only hold true and false. Character is 1 character. Okay. Byte, I'm not to consider. Short, you can use it if you want to. You don't have to. It's only numbers between negative 32,000 and positive 32,000. Integers hold up to 3 billion or 2 billion. Anything bigger than that, you have to use a long. Most of the stuff in this class, you're going to be able to use an int for. Float and double are basically similar. One just holds bigger numbers and are more precise. In other words, a float will be precise to about 17 or 7 decimal points, where a double's accurate up to about 15. And a string holds any characters. Okay. It'll hold punctuation, anything you're not going to do math with. So if I was to ask you your social security number, what data type is your social security number? Anybody?
It's an integer.
Okay.
Int.
Have you ever done math with your social security number?
No.
No. So it's not really a number. It's a bunch of numerals, right?
Yeah.
So what data type are you going to pick?
A string.
Yep. It's a string. If you're not going to do math with it, okay, it's a string. All right. And as far as floats and doubles are floating point. All that is a geek term for it can have a fraction. Okay. That's all it means. Integers, of course, are whole numbers, can't have a fraction. All right. And then quiz. Again, I got one short quiz this semester, and all it is on more likely on what data type would you pick for somebody's age? And that would be what? Anybody?
What do you mean by it? What do you mean? I'm confused.
You're going to store somebody's age as a variable. What data type would it be?
I lost it. Never mind. I lost it.
Would it since you're not doing math with it, would it be a string?
Well, no.
Or would it be a byte?
No. It could be a byte. I don't normally use bytes unless it has to do with computers. But you're on the right track. It's a whole number, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to be an integer.
All right.
All right. Now, could you make it a short? Yeah, because nobody's 32,000 years old. I know of anyway. But I'm going to allow you guys to stick with the int and the double. So if it's a whole number, you make it an int. If it's a number with a fraction or money, it's a double. Okay.
Is there ever like a time where you want to use one of the like ones that refer to like smaller quantities, like a
Yeah.
byte?
Yeah. The char and the Boolean, and you could use a byte. Normally, I only use a byte, though, if I'm dealing with something that pertains to my computer.
All right.
Okay. There's nothing wrong with using it. It just adds another level. Same thing with a short, if I want to save, if I'm really, and I would never mark it wrong if it works. But it saves memory, right? So if you're really concerned about saving memory, then you would go to that level. All right.
Okay.
All right. I think that's our time for today. Now, again, I'm going to just real quick take a minute and I'm going to open up NetBeans so you can see what it looks like. You should, when you install it, it should pop up like this. And I just want to show you how to get in there so that if you want to play, you can.
Hey, Professor Douglas. Your audio cut out when you started the program.
Yeah, your microphone audio is not picking up. I thought it was just me for a sec, but.
I think it's because NetBeans is open and it's interfering with Zoom.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, hang on. I'm going to try one other thing. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yep.
All right. Okay, so let me do this one more time real fast. So you're going to go here to NetBeans, opens up. Eventually. This pops up. You go to File, New Project. This pops up. You're always going to pick Java with Ant for this class. You hit Next. You type in whatever the name of your program is. And again, it isn't Chapter 1, Exercise 3. It'll be something like maybe Rectangle. And I'll make it Rectangle 1 because I already have a name, Rectangle. And then you hit Finish. You can put it wherever you want by changing these right here. If I change those, it saves it to wherever I want to save it. And it usually pops up like this, okay? And then we'll go in and change. This is that required header that says project name, date, all that goes in there. And then your code goes in between those two braces. Your code goes in here. Okay. So we'll stop at that point, and then on Thursday, we're going to write some programs. Okay?
Awesome.
All right. So I'm going to stop sharing. Come back here. Sorry for that little, I don't know why it's never done that before when I went to NetBeans, knock out my sound. Any questions? Just start reading, get the quiz taken. Make sure you got NetBeans and Java installed, and we'll pick it up there on Thursday. How's that sound?
Great.
Sounds good.
All right, guys. Have a great day. I'll be back at 11 if you need anything too.
Awesome. Thank
Your
you.
office
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
So when are you gonna send a recording of Assume to Blackboard or something?
What now?
You know, our recording of class. When are you gonna send that? I know.
As soon as we get done with the class, I'll process it.
Yeah, I do have a question about NetBeans and Zoom. Maybe in 10 minutes since it's almost 11.
Okay.
I can wait, if you need to do this first or something.
No, you can go ahead. These guys are, I don't have anything else. Go ahead.
Okay. Why don't we wait till everybody's just done, everybody's leave first, so.
All right. So just come back at 11.
Okay then.